कुमार स्वामी नायक है गोंगो लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की
In the news tonight, PM opens new hospital in Navosa. Statistics reveal more young sexual perpetrators. And lack of male participation disappoints minister.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Ateda Lendua.
Ulunaka, Fiji, good news for people living in the Nandronga Navosa province and those in the highlands of Mba, as from today they will not need to travel far for medical services as the new Navosa Subdivisional Hospital is now officially open. The $30 million hospital can perform surgeries in a modern operating theatre with proper post-operative care and inpatient services. Felipe Nakaso has more.
It was all smiles for people living around this area as the new Navosa Subdivisional Hospital opened its doors.
This hospital will make a huge difference for the people in this area, and it will surely save lives. One of the most important objectives of my government has been to eliminate the gap that has existed for so long between the living standards of our rural and our urban communities.
This hospital includes a guest house for families so they can stay with their loved ones instead of having to bear the expense of a hotel or travel back and forth to their villages. It even includes housing for staff so that a significant number of doctors and nurses can be here on site 24 hours a day.
Timing is critical in medicine, and if we can treat people early, then we have gone a long way to providing the best health care we can.
Villagers from the surrounding areas have praised the opening of this new hospital as it will make life a bit easier for them.
We are grateful for this hospital as there's more services included compared to before. Certain things were done at Singatoka Hospital.
Before, we would pay around $7 to get to the Koromomu Health Center, but now we just have to pay $2 for transport, which will bring us here.
We now join Felipe live. Felipe, what more can you tell us about the new Navosa Hospital, and can it cater for the amount of people in the area?
Ateda, the hospital will serve 26 villages, 58 settlements, 11 kindergartens, 13 primary school and 2 secondary schools. And the people from the Bukuya medical area and the Upper Nangalimare nursing district can also use the new hospital. So basically, Ateda, more than 10,000 Fijians will benefit from the new Navosa Subdivisional Hospital. And despite the hospital not able to treat some of the most serious acute or complicated cases, people in the area can be rest assured that if they need to be treated quickly at a larger hospital, they can be transported by helicopter from the Medivac heliport that was built into the design. And in terms of staffing, at the moment, there's nurses and doctors from the Lotoka and Singatoka hospitals that are based up at the new Navosa hospital. However, the PS for Health says they're planning to have around 40 staff on rotational shift at the new hospital.
Naka, Felipe. While sexual violence against women and girls remains a serious concern, a rape analysis carried out by the Fiji women's rights movement reveals that the age of the perpetrators and the victims are getting younger and younger. Out of the 81 cases of rape decided in the high courts around the country last year, the age of the youngest accused was 14 years, while the oldest was 78 years old. Pranita Prakash reports in 4 out of the 81 cases, the complainant was a person with a disability.
Disturbing figures have emerged following an analysis carried out by the Fiji women's rights movement.
The average age of the victim survivor is around 14 years. The youngest victim survivor was 3 years, and the oldest victim survivor was 83 years. And in 63% of the cases, the victim survivor knew the perpetrator.
There is a general consensus that more urgency is needed from everyone to address the issue.
Such cases of violence against women is fostering in an environment where gender equality, where women and girls are not seen as equal, where we see the patriarchal notions of how what women and girls' place is in society.
I would really encourage every single parent to be very hyper vigilant and to be a very active part of their children's lives, and to foster an environment of safety and comfort at home, so that you would be motivating your children to access your support first.
Change needs to happen everywhere, from the national level to within our families, homes, schools and churches and on the streets, because the perpetrators are not strangers. They are from our own communities. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
There was no participation from men on 7 islands in Laos during the first round of consultation for the formulation of the National Action Plan for the Prevention of Violence Against Women and Girls. Following a week-long trip organized by the United Nations, several invitations were sent out, but men showed no interest in attending the consultation. The Minister for Women and her team, despite their satisfaction that the women were able to share their stories, say the involvement of men is important in addressing the issue.
Minister Mereseni Wuniwanga says the need to expose the roots of violence is important in solving the issue.
The heart of it is gender inequality, but you will find when women tell their stories, it's a lot of reasons that they gave. It can be homebrew, it's fighting over money, it's even too much time spent away from home and drinking grog.
Disappointed with the turnout from men, the minister says plans are also to host separate discussions with men.
I'm not surprised that men have not been part of the consultations. And in a way, for me, I'm glad as well. I'm not so sure that I would have gotten the same feedback from women if their husbands were sitting there. Men will become a voice as well in this National Action Plan.
UN Resident Coordinator Sanaka Samarshina says more resources are needed to address violence.
The hopelessness of a woman, a child, and it may not be a girl, sometimes it may be a little boy, and this is one of the things I want to also advocate more strongly about, is the connection between child protection and protection of women and girls. There's a lot of synergies there that we need to work on.
162 women took part in the consultation. Another key highlight noted is that reconciliation of cases is handled in the traditional village way and not under the law. Apenisonga Ndobu, FBC News.
The United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund has noted that the recent tropical cyclones that affected the Lao group is beginning to affect children's mindset. UNICEF was part of a trip to Lao, engaging with teachers from various schools on issues facing students in the Lao group. They were able to identify that most of the children on islands they visited expressed a fear of cyclones. UNICEF Chief Child Protection, Bridget Sonois, says teachers are providing support for these children.
Some teachers said that yes, definitely the children were affected psychologically by the cyclone, and that, for example, now as soon as it starts raining or there is a little bit of wind, they scream cyclone, cyclone, and the teachers try to discuss with them and explain that there are different categories of cyclones.
Apenisa went to Laos with the UNICEF and other government teams. Apenisa, what else can you tell us about the outcome of this visit to Laos?
Ateva UNICEF Chief Child Protection, Bridget Sonois, also says that there were also a lot of positive feedback following a week-long trip to 7 islands in the Lao group. She says during TCASA there was a lack of preparation throughout a lot of islands. However, during TCANA, or in the approach of TCANA, teachers and parents say it was students who encouraged them to move to evacuation centers, which mostly are schools. Sonoy says this goes to show that students, or children in this case, are contributing effectively in movement, in terms of movements, and also are becoming more vocal in the society. She also says that their trip to Laos was also to see if the assistance rendered by UNICEF have reached the intended schools. Fortunately, a lot of schools have received the assistance, but there were a few schools who did not receive the assistance. And Sonoy says that they will go back and look into this. Ateda.
Panisa. Up ahead, FNU records healthy enrollment numbers. And more Fijians returning to Onkandavu.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Despite the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, Fiji National University has seen healthy enrollment this year. FNU's new Vice-Chancellor Professor Toby Wilkinson says they are offering packages and financial assistance to students to make it easier for them to get enrolled in the university. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Vice-Chancellor says students can get enrolled and access grants after meeting the criteria.
So we have a payment plan that students can enter into with our finance division to pay their fees over a period of time, so they don't have to pay it all in one go. And we also have bursaries for new first-year students enrolling on undergraduate programs if they meet the academic criteria and they come from low-income households.
Wilkinson says they have added some new programs to fill the skills gap in the economy.
So we're constantly refreshing and renewing our portfolio of programs to take account of labour market needs, where there are skills gaps in the economy, and we're moving very quickly to fill those gaps with new programs so that students can graduate with skills that are needed for today's jobs.
The university also started their enrollment campaign early to ensure all students are given equal opportunities.
For semester 1 2021 enrollment, Fiji National University started the campaign last year, where we did a virtual open day for our prospective students and these students who were in secondary schools.
FNU this week has started with their orientation and are looking forward to welcoming new students on campus. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The population on Onkandavu is increasing rapidly as more people in the urban areas are choosing to permanently shift back to the island. A recent survey has revealed that those laid off from work due to COVID-19 are now utilizing the land by engaging in yangona farming and setting up businesses on the island. Kelly Bathala reports.
Data collected recently show that more people prefer to live on the island during the new normal.
People are moving back into the island because of the increase in the price of cow, and also due to COVID-19, when so many job losses, as some of the people, some of the Onkandavu natives, they were working in the hotels, in the tourism sector. They moved back into the island and start to utilize the land.
The Rokotu Onkandavu says their main focus is to assist those who are unemployed by allowing them to return and utilize the land available.
We are also advising if they are living in the mainland in Vitilevu, if they are unemployed or going through much challenges, it's better off to come back.
Yangona farmer Watisoni Vungona says having the support of the Vanua helps his business.
Better to set up business here on Onkandavu and then export it. Yangona is on high demand and it's an expensive commodity right now. It's very rewarding and the income generated is more than what we receive from a normal workday at the office.
The increase in population was a topic of discussion at the Mbosini Vanua over the weekend, where traditional leaders agreed to welcome back their people and help contribute to the island's development. Kelly Vathala, FBC News.
Good news for members of the Pacific Financial Technical Assistance Center, including Fiji, as the Embassy of the United States of America has contributed $4.07 million. Their contribution is crucial to Fiji and the Pacific in terms of maintaining financial stability. Jeshula reports the U.S., together with the International Monetary Fund, has signed a letter of understanding to become the 7th donor to the Technical Assistance Center.
Fiji, being a member country of the Pacific Financial Technical Assistance Centre, is proving invaluable as it continues to chart its way forward in these trying times.
Of the areas that benefited the most, I think probably tax. There's a lot of the support that we've got through tax reform. There's also the Ministry of Economy that benefited, and us as a bank. Like we've benefited immensely from programs around ensuring financial stability.
United States Charge d'Affaires Tony Grubel says, as first-time donors, the U.S. is working to promote the macroeconomic stability and development of its Pacific Island members.
As a Pacific nation, the United States has a strong and enduring interest in the security, stability, and prosperity of our close partners and neighbors here in the Pacific.
Meanwhile, PIF Tech Center Coordinator David Cloden says the center focuses on promoting macrofinancial stability in the Pacific, and it provides assistance to 16 Pacific Island countries including Fiji. Jeshu Lal, FBC News.
The installation of color-coded number plates for taxis in the Central and Eastern Divisions has been delayed for over 5 months. Land Transport Authority Chief Executive Samuel Simpson says the delay is due to the various processes that have to be followed. Simpson adds almost every taxi operation in the Greater Nandi and Lautoka areas have color-coded number plates.
We have almost completed Nandi and Lautoka. There are 2 zones in Lautoka and Nandi plates. We will then move down to the central and eastern area, and you will start to see orange coloured plates appearing down in the central eastern.
And we join Kelly now with business.
Thanks to Tether. Coming up, sales pick up for Onkandavu vendors. A new lens office opens in Rakiraki. Stay with us.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Business for market vendors at Vunisea Onkandavu is starting to pick up following tropical cyclones Yasa and Ana last month. Supported by UN Women, the market now has 40 vendors from around the island selling fresh produce and generating enough income to get through this difficult period. This is some of the produce villagers were able to harvest in a short period of time after the 2 storms.
We're trying to bounce back after Yasa and Ana. Even though we may lack some root crops or produce and may need to get it from other outer islands, we are adjusting to it. We are going out fishing and selling seafood as well, which is helping us get through the day.
Moses Tuvodi says after the 2 cyclones severely affected their farms, they were buying some of their produce from Suva.
We have people here who depend on certain produce at the market. We as vendors try to support and encourage each other so business can flourish later. We know some fruits and vegetables are not available on the island, but we're adjusting.
Vendor Taita Vunivalu says even though business is slow at times, they're fortunate now to be able to supply produce to Suva.
Business is picking up well compared to the previous month. We are supplying back to Suva and we are happy to be growing vegetables and root crops on the island again. It's a healthy sign that we are recovering slowly.
The vendors usually work together with small boat owners who transport produce purchased on Onkandavu to nearby islands. Kelly Vadala, FBC News. The market value of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin has surged above $1 trillion. That is more than the annual economic output of Switzerland. Have a look.
18 months ago, Tracy Plowman put some savings into Bitcoin.
So for me, I just wanted to get skin in the game, I guess, and put something in there, which is why putting that small amount in at the beginning.
Bitcoin is a digital currency. You can sign up for a digital wallet online, like opening a bank account, and buy Bitcoin online to keep in it. As very few retailers let you pay with it now, most are betting on its price rising. In 2017, the price raced up quickly. until it collapsed, sinking from $25,000 to $8,000 within weeks. But now it's surging again, hitting a new record over $70,000.
We saw a 40% increase in new clients coming on board from the first to the second half of 2020.
More global giants, including Tesla and MasterCard, are also looking at ways for customers to pay using Bitcoin.
So with those big names coming in, you're also going to see that increase in interest.
But risks remain.
You can't touch it and feel it. It seems to move around with extreme volatility, sometimes up dramatically, sometimes down dramatically.
And regulation is light. If your digital wallet is hacked, in other words, if a cyber criminal breaks into it and steals your Bitcoin, you're not protected and extremely unlikely to see your money again.
So I took a small amount of profits recently because it did so well, but I will hold, absolutely.
We now join Sinifa from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
Good evening. A fourth quarter decline in New Zealand retail sales was steeper than forecast. They expected a 0.5% decline, but sales fell 2.7%. The US dollar nursed losses near a 6-week low today, while commodity currencies loitered around multi-year highs, like the Aussie dollar hitting a new 3-year high of 79 cents to the American dollar. Traders expect U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Powell to provide reassurance later tonight that the Fed will tolerate higher inflation without immediately hiking rates. They said that could calm bond markets and eventually weigh on the dollar. On the data front, focus now moves to U.S. job data as well as information on New Zealand's consumer confidence and trade balance due on Friday. That's all from HFC Bank for now. Vinaka.
Here are the local exchange rates for the Fiji dollar as set early this morning. Once again, our dollar was on the rise against major currencies such as the Chinese yuan, the US greenback and the euro, but was down versus the Aussie and Kiwi dollars as well as the yen. It gained slightly against the kina. The commodities market continued to rise. Oil prices rose sharply to over $62 a barrel. Gold shot up as well to $1,812 per ounce, and silver closed up at $28.36 per ounce. Lessees in Rakiraki and Tavua no longer have to travel to Lautoka for certain services, as all state leasing services will now be offered in Rakiraki town. A new lands office was opened in Rakiraki by the lands minister yesterday. The minister also planned to open another office in Nandio Singatoka in the near future to meet the demand for land-related services. Lands Minister Chonu Sumate says the opening of the Rakiraki office is in line with the civil service reform of decentralizing its services to the public.
Our Rakiraki office will be responsible for delivery of service on 3,240 lease files. That's a number of files in this particular area, number of leases that we have in this part of Fiji. This includes 1,546 files for Tavua and 1,694 files for Rakiraki, and a team of 5 dedicated officials will be serving the 2 districts of Tavua and Rakiraki, but based out of this Rakiraki office.
And that's business for tonight. Jamie's up next with sports.
Thank you and good evening. Ahead in sports, all VPL matches postponed. And new clubs join Suva Volleyball. This and more coming up.
Hi, I'm Ini from Rakiraki. I love Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
The Vodafone Premier League matches scheduled for this weekend have been postponed to next week. The tournament was scheduled to begin on Saturday along with the Fiji Football Association's Women's Super League. Fiji FA Chief Executive Mohammed Yusuf says they are sorting out some logistics and have decided to delay the start of the National League, considering groundwork and stadium renovations being carried out in Lambasa. Yusuf adds they could start the league matches for the remaining districts, but that would affect the entire competition schedule for the year. The Suva Volleyball Association is advocating for the revival of clubs in the Suva-Nausori corridor, with the competition now in full force. A good number of new teams are joining the competition this year, including two from Tamavua, who are out to have some fun playing the sport they love and hopefully build some pride in their communities. Tali Materkula reports.
The association has seen a drastic increase in the number of participating clubs.
43 clubs, so we have 29 men's team and 13 women's team. So that's almost double our clubs from when we started the season last year.
Majority of the teams coming from outside the Suva-Nausori corridor aims to get the much-needed exposure playing against some of the best teams in the country. For Tamavua-based Celtics and Green Valley, it's about restoring the lost status as volleyball giants.
Volleyball clubs are really hard to compete with, especially when you're a new team. So yeah, it's hard, but it's fun.
Elders have seen us playing volleyball, but for fun. So I think they wanted to bring back the history that the team has in the Volleyball Association.
The two teams have had an impressive start so far, recording wins in their first matches. Talima Terkula, FBC Sports.
Rattusukuna Memorial School is faced with some major challenges this year as it prepares for its Suva Zone 1 title defense. The defending champions are now looking for potential athletes to represent the school, given a majority of its key athletes have left the school for tertiary studies. Head of Department PMAC, Jane Danford, says a major blow is the departure of some of their junior and intermediate athletes to other schools.
We have lots of new athletes this year. Most of our athletes had gone. So we are hopeful to improve on our performance this year and also in our preparation for the zone.
The road to getting back in shape has not been easy for former Fiji middleweight boxing champion Sebastian the Sniper Singh. Now the 26-year-old plans to turn heads and prove critics wrong as he prepares to face Rattusukuna in the South Pacific boxing promotion in the super middleweight contest next month. Karlaini Tavi reports.
Sebastian Singh is working on maintaining his weight before the much-anticipated fight against Vavana.
We've been working hard. We've been working on things that needed attention from the last fight, correcting our mistakes from the last fight, and we know that our opponent is he's not going to be easy. He's I would say he's hard-headed. You know, he can take a shot. He can give a shot also.
Singh is hoping to redeem himself in this upcoming bout on March 20th after losing twice to Vavana in their last encounter.
If he's expecting me to come the way I came 2 years ago, fought him twice, if he's expecting that Sebastian, he's really got to change his game plan. He's really got to start working hard because he's not getting anyone near to the person he fought a couple of years back.
Also featuring in the cruiserweight category is Joseph Kwajo, who will fight Alvirete Kauyava. Kwajo says the first title match against Kauyava will be just another typical bout for him.
No, I'm not there for a knockout, but if it happens, it happens. Because I will try to do something different this time.
Other fights will include Nathan Singh, who will feature in his first title match in the super lightweight division against Ronald Naidu. The event is set to take place at Prince Charles Park on the 20th of March. Karleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
Roy Krishna's ATK Mohan Bagan played to a 2-all draw against a 10-man Hyderabad FC in the Indian Super League this morning. While star striker Krishna did not score, there was no shortage of action. Brighton says the man of their 2-1 English Premier League defeat by Crystal Palace felt like a robbery that has pushed them towards the danger zone. After being tied 1-1, Christian Benteke's volley secured a dramatic winner for Palace deep into added time with only their second shot on target. Devon Conway's unbeaten 99 of 59 balls helped New Zealand thrash Australia by 53 runs in the opening 2020. Playing only his 6th T20 international, left-handed Conway helped the hosts recover from 19 for 3 to post 184 for 5 in Christchurch. That's it from Sports Tonight. In Weird and Wonderful later on, take a look at a Polish zoo's efforts to save the very rare and endangered bear couscous. This and more coming up.
Navosa, we love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
A low-pressure trough to the north of Fiji is expected to drift south and affect the northern parts of the country by Thursday. In the west, today was a fine day with mainly clear skies. From Pacific Harbour to Suva, early morning showers gave way to a generally cloudy afternoon. And in the north, cloudy skies and a few brief showers. At sea, 20 to 25 knots, easterly winds are generating rough sea conditions. Turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 4:23 a.m., followed by low tide at 10:11 a.m. Sunrise is at 6:03. Tomorrow should be much like today, with a chance of showers in the interior of the larger islands and along eastern shores. Outlook for Thursday, scattered showers and a chance of thunderstorms. In Fijian Pulse, we asked, do you think more cashless payment options should be introduced to outer islands?
It's not really a good idea, you see, because some people just have a few places around Fiji.
To be cashless, it's the best thing because you don't have to carry cash around.
Yeah, it's a good idea. No bank in the outer island. Cashless payment is easier because people don't have to go around looking for places to do their payments. They can just do it directly from wherever they are.
In the world of the weird and the wonderful, we have a baby bear, Cuscus, born at a Polish zoo, and this calls for a celebration. Recapping our main stories, PM opens new hospital in Navosa, statistics reveal more young sexual perpetrators, and lack of male participation disappoints minister. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we're asking, do you believe the roadworks being undertaken is up to par? Visit our FBC website to answer. On to our shot of the day. This one comes from the stadium over the weekend where Suva played Lambasa in the CVC football. You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos by email to fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts including Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. That's your news for this evening. Until tomorrow, Matemanda.
Hi, I'm Asalika and I'm from Lotoka and I love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.